like Batman, the only thing hotter than the center of the earth right now is Phoenix, Arizona. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to tell you what it's really like to live, work, and play in the greater Phoenix area when we are experiencing heat wave record-breaking temperatures right after this. It's hot here. I'm not going to say it's a dry heat. There is a point where it just doesn't matter. And there is that point. And for me, it's 108. Look, my mom called me last night in a little bit of a panic. And she's like, oh, I'm so worried about everything that's on the news. I just want to make sure you and the kids are safe. And I was like, I have no idea what they're saying on the news because I don't watch the news. I was like, are they saying people are melting or, houses are just going up in flames? Like, I don't know what people are, seeing in the news. And again, I don't really know, but I want to tell you what it's really like because I have to tell you, I'm living it firsthand and it's manageable. As crazy as that might sound. And I'm not saying it's manageable for everyone. So you're going to hear about the extremes. You're going to hear about the unfortunate death of the homeless or people that might have had their utilities turned off due to non-payment, which if you do a little bit more research, there's usually a lot more behind it because our utility companies do not turn off power in the summer months. So let's talk about my personal life and I'll share it with you. First of all, I start my day with a dog walk. Well, that's impossible when I wake up in the middle of the night. Right now, our lows are still in the 90s. That is not refreshing. So you have to modify your life a little bit. My pup and I, although the pavement is still rather cool, we just take a quick short walk down to the park. And so it's a nice grassy or gravel area. And so we spend an extra 10, 15 minutes there playing. And that's how I get away from walking on the concrete. And then when we get back home, my dog gets to go swimming every single day. Now, if you don't have a pool, here is something super cool I want to share with you. There is an app that you can actually rent people's homes with pools, even if you have a dog. This is the craziest little thing. So you just type in the address that you wanted to search on. So I can find some homes. These are for like big parties. Party of 30 for $40 an hour. Here's another one for 15 people for $40 an hour. If you get a bunch of friends together, you could have a total party, even if you don't have your own pool. If you ask me, that's a super awesome thing. But here's the other thing. If you don't want to spend $40 an hour, here's some great tips for living in the greater Phoenix area if you have pups. First of all, in Gilbert, there is a Cosmo dog park that actually has a lake just for the dogs. Or you could pop over to the Salt River, which is throughout Mesa, South Scottsdale, and Tempe, that is free all of the time. You can take your pups, and I take my dog there on the weekends, but it's just a hop and a skip if you live in that central part of the greater Phoenix area. Here's the other part that makes it difficult. Now, when you wake up in the morning, first of all, lather yourself with a ton of lotion. You're going to be going through bottles like this maybe once every other week. Bath and Body Works is going to be your best friend. You're going to go there on their big sales and you're going to get a whole basket. And then when you get dressed, I'm telling you, clothing here is very different. So this is truly an area where you're going to wear lightweight clothes and also light color clothes. Believe it or not, even in an office environment, open-toed shoes, which I know sounds crazy coming from the big cities, but that's kind of the norm here. And depending on the line of work you're in, thongs or flip-flops are even acceptable. But you're going to start your day, you're going to be more lathered, your skin's going to be softer, you're going to love how dry the air is because you're going to have straight hair if you want it or curly hair if you want it. It's going to stay the same unless you walk by a mister, because that's one of the things I hate. When I go out to like these outdoor shopping areas or patios, the misters, yes, they make it 10 to 20 degrees cooler, but your hair starts to go crazy. Anyways, so when you leave the house, if you're really going to work in an office, you're going to try and park your car in a shaded area. And if that's not an option, you're going to bring a solar shade and you are going to have tinted windows in a white vehicle with non-leather seats. There's all your little tricks there. And here's the best part. You are going to have an automatic starter so that about 10 minutes, maybe even just 5 minutes before you leave, you're just click, click, and you are going to pop that car on so it's nice and cool when you get to it. You're going from air conditioning to air conditioning. It's really not that crazy. And when they talk about you burn your hands on the steering wheels, just park your car. I always park my car against the direction of where the afternoon sun will be. So like kind of behind you, right? Here's another thing that people do. It's crazy. Tanning booth companies are busy busier in the greater Phoenix area during the summer months than they are in the winter. Why? Because everybody wants to be beautifully tan and look great and not have to lay out in the crazy sun. Let's talk about private pools. So first of all, you want to make sure you take very good care of your pool, because in the summertime, the water can turn like this. It is very sensitive to heat. So make sure you are either just slight of a chemist or you have a great pool guy, because I'm telling you, it could be perfect one day and green the next. The pool water is also going to be very warm. So that bacteria, algae kind of thing will grow very quickly. And I'll tell you, the answer is not to throw in a ton of chlorine or a ton of shock. I'm telling you, you don't want to do that. If you don't know how to properly take care of a pool, I would highly recommend for at least the first year, have a pool guy. That's going to run you, depending on the part of the valley, and I know that sounds crazy, but in the lesser parts of, not expensive areas, maybe $110 to $125 a month for pool maintenance. If you live in an expensive area or have a larger pool, it's going to be upwards of $150 to $175, like Scott Scottsdale. If you live in Scottsdale, expect about $165 to $175 a month. Their mindset is they can afford it. The pool, I'm telling you, is amazing in the summertime. It is not the same refreshing that you're probably thinking of from wherever you're coming. It is rather warm. You just walk straight in the morning. I'm telling you, it's a great way to start your day, and it's a great way to get ready for bed. It is absolutely enjoyable. Here is one of the things I mention to people all the time. Jacuzzis built in the ground really aren't necessary and not that great in the greater Phoenix area. When it's 118 degrees outside, you're not turning on that jacuzzi, right? And that's the only time that area, that water is nice and warm. And in the wintertime, when you want to have it, it'll take you literally 2, 3, 4 hours to heat it up, not to mention a couple $100 with the gas bill. So I would highly recommend pool. If you want a pool, get a pool. Community pools are fantastic and they're a great social environment. But if you were thinking of a jacuzzi, I would highly recommend an above ground after you buy your home to put one in there. Let's talk about the plants. Let me tell you, plants just need a lot of frequent and very deep watering. Some people, they think that that's why we don't have, green grass and green trees. Really, the reason we don't have a whole lot of it is because we are the desert. And so we try and preserve our water so that in situations like we've had in the southwest part of the country, for the last 23 years, we've had a drought. So if I use less water, if we all contribute and use less water, it's better for the community. So, but there's many of us, including myself, transplant that I was like, I have to have grass. I have to have trees. So what you do is you water in the middle of the night or really, really early in the morning or really, really late at night, not in the smack dab in the middle of the day. And you're going to water usually instead of just like once a week, you would bump it up to like 2 or 3 times a week. And you do a very slow, what we call drip system. And then depending on the size of the plant, you might have it drip for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes so that it just goes down deep, deep, deep. There are different plants and grasses that do better here, but I'll be honest with you, there is so much rebates right now for people converting their yards to what they call xeriscape or reduce the water usage, even like for turf grass. So we are doing everything we can to, again, preserve that integral part of living in the desert. All right, tinted windows. I mentioned that a little bit on the car, and you want to know how you beat the heat, you leave town in the months of July. This girl does pretty much every other weekend. Just went up to San Diego, which by the way, not only did that place smell like urine, it was filthy. Yes, it was colder, but I don't see the draw, guys. But I went out there. My truck is totally tinted black windows, and I have black tires and all the decal kind of things, the handles and everything are black on my car. And everybody's like, oh my God, that is so cool. And I'm like, it's so normal for Arizona. So when you first move here, one of the first things you want to do is you want to make that investment in your vehicle and make sure you get tinted windows, you get your sun visor and that auto start. Here's the other thing. You're going to change the way you eat in the greater Phoenix area. First of all, people don't eat dinner here at 5 or 6 o'clock. They just don't. Even in the wintertime, we don't. We eat dinner around 7 or 8. And this time of year, it's even later. And the type of food is different. We don't eat heavy meals. We eat very light meals. Even at the grocery store, you're just going to see yourself buying different things. I'm hot, but not like sweating. When people talk about, oh, you're sweating and all these stupid memes and things like that, it's not that bad. Because here's the thing. Unless you're a roofer or you're an AC guy, which God, I feel so bad for them this time of year, but they chose that industry. Landscapers, same thing. But anyways, if you don't do something outside, you're not going to be sweating and being crazy hot all the time. But I'm still shopping differently. I never buy slushies. I bought a slushie yesterday on the way home, driving home from San Diego. I eat a lot of yogurt, a lot of salads. The idea of hot soup right now does not sound very appealing. But again, you're going to eat totally different. You're going to buy different types of vegetables and fruit. And here's the other thing. You don't want to cook in the kitchen because it makes the kitchen hot. But I'll tell you, you're not barbecuing outside either. This is the time of year a lot of people eat out or they get deliveries. And let me tell you, we now can have delivery heaven of anything and everything. Go pick it up if you can. Go through the drive-through. There's apps on everything. You can pre-order your food. That's the one thing COVID really changed our world. There is a plethora of online ordering and to-go eating in the house. So when you first get here, I'll tell you, it really got me. When I first moved here, I'm like, look at all these restaurants. There's every single quarter. They have corporate restaurants. They have mom and pop restaurants. You're thinking, how does this guy ever make it? I'm telling you, that is one of the great things about living in the greater Phoenix area. Not only do you have the diversity of food, but you can choose to have a really fancy sit-down restaurant literally within miles of wherever you live. You can also do some kind of grab and go and healthier than fast food. And I know everybody loves corporate chains, but I love the little guy. And there are tons of little guys in the greater Phoenix area. But if you have your food delivered, make sure it's not cold, because by the time you get it, it'll be semi-warm. And God forbid, do not have ice cream delivered. Just getting it home from the grocery store, you're in yourself, you're rushing. That's the very first bag, you running into the house and sticking it in the freezer because it's super soft. Here's another thing, having deliveries delivered to your house. Like if I order MAC makeup, I sometimes will order it directly MAC online because I'm too lazy to go to the mall. I'm not a big shopper, and I'll have it delivered to my house. But I will not do it this time of year because I don't want anything to melt, right? Don't order candles, don't order fresh flowers. I'm telling you, you just have to be strategic about living in Arizona. And it is just for 2 months that it's kind of like you really isolate yourself. But here's the thing, guys, it's totally different than the snow. I do not have to worry about dangerous driving hazards. I do not have to worry about kids all of a sudden being home because they have a snow day. I don't have salt eating away at my vehicle. I don't have people like driving like this or skidding out of the way. I don't have to wear 10 layers to run to the store. I'm not sitting at home and not being active and gaining 20, 50 pounds. There is so many pros, even though we have really, I'm going to say it, shitty summer. July and August are absolutely miserable. And I'm just going to tell you, anything over 108, this girl stays at home or inside somewhere, inside a mall, inside a restaurant, inside a library, inside showing homes, whatever it may be, you just stay inside in the air conditioning. Now, here's another thing. Air conditioning, by the way, if this is where it makes a huge difference when you rent and where you rent versus buy. I always say this, when you own your own home, you are your own keeper. You have complete control over what your overhead costs will be every single year based on that mortgage, right? Unless you refi, and then it can actually go down. And you have complete control over your air conditioning. Do you know how many tenants right now in single family homes and even apartment complexes that their air conditioning has gone out due to poor maintenance? Because let me tell you, when you're renting a home, the landlord doesn't proactively give you a call and say, hey, we're sending out our AC guy. We're going to do a service for you. Unfortunately, they just don't think that way. And so when the ACs need to perform at their highest level using the most energy that they need to in order to perform, and they can't even get down to where they need to be. Let me tell you, when it's 118 outside and you're asking your AC to be 72, think about that. That's crazy. And if you haven't maintained it, what happens? It breaks. I have no idea why, but Arizona law, the landlord actually has 10 days to fix things. Most landlords do it in as quickly as they possibly can. But this time of the year, HVAC guys, there's a long list ahead of you. Number one. Number two, parts are on back order. And so what these occupants are prioritized, here's the end. If you have a 2-story, you have 2 units. So if one of your units is working, then you actually go to like the B category, okay? Those people that live in a home that only has 1 unit are prioritized. And even though you get out there, it might just be that a part's broken, but that part isn't available because it's like a 19-year-old unit. And do you think that landlord is jumping through the phone to say, hey, no problem, we're going to put a new AC in there for you? Heck no, they're saying, I'm going to wait for that part. And then they might send you over one of these amazing contraptions that they've built now that's like a cooler with ice water, and then it blows water and it does cool your house. It does work, but it's hardly a remedy. So when you are thinking of renting, you are going to want to look at newer homes and newer apartment complexes, or you may find yourself in a little bit of a dilemma. Same thing with short-term rentals. All right, guys, I am not a pessimist. I am an optimist, but I have to tell you, this time of the year is no bueno. But if you like my channel, if you like the information I'm providing, give me a call, subscribe, follow me, whatever you do here on YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. Comments below. Thanks so much. I appreciate all your follows and phone calls, and I'm so blessed to have helped so many people, and hopefully I can help you when you are ready to move to the greater Phoenix area. All right, guys, until next time, stay cool. I know I am.